Book, The Hirman Key Revisited. Freemasonry, A Plan for a New World Order.
Part 2. Moses in the Exodus. Life must have been very quiet for the Canaanites, and one can only imagine that these isolated tribesmen must have been greatly surprised when they saw an endless column of people heading towards them across and around tightly packed, jagged peaks of rock that rise more than a mile and a half above the surrounding sea. These strangers explained how they had escaped from captivity in Egypt and crossed right through the waters off the River Nile under the leadership of an 80-year-old ex-army general called Moses. However, Moses himself was no stranger to the Canaanites. They knew him well because he had previously worked for them as a shepherd for no less than 40 years. This bearded wanderer had originally been a clean-shaven general in the Egyptian army and an important member of the royal court until he had committed a murder and gone on the run in the Sinai desert. Moses had married Zipporah, the daughter of Reuel, who was the Jethro, or high priest and leader of the Canaanites. Moses and his brother Aaron had also been initiated into the priesthood of the Canaanites and had begun to worship their God, Yahweh. At some point Moses left his people and climbed up the largest mountain in the Sinai. There he had a meeting with that master of storms, Yahweh. The deity presented the old soldier with a number of instructions for life, including what we know today as the Ten Commandments. However, the relationship between God and Moses was not always an easy one. On one occasion his wife, Zipporah, had to rescue Moses and, according to some biblical scholars, their eldest son Gershom from an attack carried out by Yahweh who had, for reasons unknown, decided to kill him. Moses announced that his mobile nation was to continue on its journey, taking the Canaanite God with it in a specially constructed box called the Ark of the Covenant. The plan was to head in a vaguely northeasterly direction in search of a land that Yahweh had promised them. The problem was that hundreds of tribes of Canaanites already occupied the land. The box in which they carried God was entirely Egyptian in design. It was made of shittim wood, or acacia, the only tree that grows to any size in the arid sands of this desert region, and upon it sat two gold-covered effigies of winged sphinxes. Within God had conversations with Moses that divine voice would emanate from the box between these two gilded carvings. The band of Hebrew escapees from Egypt continued their journey with the deity that had manufactured the entire universe, safe inside the little box, which had been constructed with 4 extended poles so that it could carry over the difficult terrain that confronted the Hebrews. Yahweh effectively took over the leadership of the column, dictating the pace to his carriers by making himself impossibly heavy when he wanted them to stop, and lighter when he wished to go faster. As the people of the Exodus traveled through the desert, the ark was carried a safe 2,000 cubits, over half a mile, ahead of the main party. And, according to ancient tradition, we are told that Yahweh would clear a safe pathway for the nation by burning snakes, scorpions and thorns with twajets of fire as though there were a meteor slung from the undercarriage of the gold-plated ark. Unfortunately for the followers of Moses, their new God was prone to TS of ill temper. For example, when Moses' nephews Nadav and Abihu used an unapproved source to ignite a tree to offer a burnt sacrifice to Yahweh, they were immediately consumed by a bolt of flame that, according to the Old Testament, was spread by Yahweh from inside his box. Yahweh continued to be easily annoyed. Priests who cared for the ark had to think about every move, as even looking at the box at an improper time would result in immediate immolation in a ball of lambs.